Fun stuff to talk about in the bids for week 2 of Reefscape. You know how last week there was a match with 156 points of penalty that set the record for most points of penalty in a match? Well, move out of the way that match, because we have not one, but 2 matches with insane penalty scores. Firstly, we have Southern Cross Regional Qualifier 35. Quick question. How do you score 300 points without scoring 300 points? Have your opponent commit 300 points of penalty. 7113 Control Rising joined alliance partner Amity Robotics Club through the blue cages and then stalled out. Meanwhile, Ark kept bonking the blue bots at the blue reef, which you can't do. Wildest part is how no yellow cards were given out at all. This ended 323-22. At the time, it was the new high score. It's still the new high score for penalty points, but not overall score. That dubious honor goes to the Marmara Regional Qualifier 8, where we had Drakeen Robotics and PL Robotics playing defense at the Red Reef. You can't do that. Tectonic Robotics stalled out, so 0 offense got played for blue. This was almost a shutout, but both of those robots parked in endgame. What makes this one particularly high scoring is they were up against the Paradox, who won the Istanbul Regional the day before this match and then went on to win this regional. So the Paradox really good. Drakeen and PL both got yellow cards, and Red won 374-4. Eat your heart out, scoregami person on Chief Delphi who keeps track of all these scores, cause we ain't ever gonna see scores like this again. And if you're a team watching thinking, I bet, you better not. Sticking with the Southern Cross Regional in Qualifiers 74, 9144 Helix cured their Tallbot syndrome. They got caught on the reef, but a fancy bit of driving using their center of gravity to their advantage lets them stick the landing instead of having the land stick them. Not a lot of robots getting hit with Tallbot syndrome. Of course, it does happen as you get tall bots. But the most common blooper I've seen thus far is robots getting stuck on algae. Like, I might even make a compilation of it. It's happening so often to so many teams. Everywhere you turn your head, robots are getting stuck on algae. It was even mentioned in the animation kickoff.
Do you remember when one of them got tangled in the seaweed?
Robots getting tangled in algae, okay? It's the prophecy. The prophecy's coming true. We were all busy appeasing the tube gods. No one was paying attention to the algae gods. Algae gods got a little bit upset. Now teams are getting the memo, score that algae. A lot of algae getting scored in this week. So love to see the offensive meta change in only a week. We had an impromptu water game at the Belton, Texas district event. Apparently, the roof there is just a suggestion, not really doing its job as a roof. You could see at the end of one of the qualification matches, one of the drivers noticing, hey, did it rain on my laptop? Why is it wet here? And then field reset, noticing some water on the field in a water game. Can't have that. And going, is it leak? You got a leak on the roof. Had to bring out field crew to get a tarp over the field so it didn't rain on the field, because water and electronics do not mix well. So if you're an FRC, or been in FRC, you know any field delay of any sort, dance break. Doesn't matter what the cause of it, if it's a field fault, if it's a, hey, the roof isn't retaining water fault, dance break. And they had to bring out the whole arsenal, okay? They had the YMCA going, right? There's a panda in the background. Panda's loving it. We gotta zoom in on the panda. This isn't my zoom. This was the live stream's zoom of the panda. And then they had to go into the Cupid Shuffle. And you know it's a Cupid Shuffle because there's only 2 directions for the whole song, right? You go right and you left, and then you do the kick. Okay, so I guess 4. You go right and then left, and then kick out, and then walk around yourself, right? It's the lyric. It's the lyrics. So they do that. We got 2 pandas now. Okay, those panda breeding programs must be working. They done multiplied. Everyone's dancing except this one kid who's asleep. Don't know why you had to put that guy on a Kodak moment like that. Everyone's doing the Cupid Shuffle still. Okay, show that. You know, no one's sleeping during robotics season, all right? Sometimes you catch Z's, sometimes those Z's catch you. Field, still not ready. They switch into the Macarena. Macarena's always such an awkward dance. And then finally, hey, we got robots after, 15 minutes of not having robots. We got the TARP. Mercenary Robotics, Spectrum, and Aluminum Falcons ended up winning the event over the 6th seed of Pasta Bots, Robobots, and Metal Jackets. So congrats to them. And congrats to the roof for not leaking. The tarp isn't in this match, and it did look like it was only up for an hour. So there we go. If it sounds like I'm using a different microphone in a different room, that's because I am. Because I got a comment about the Plano District event in Texas, and how could I not talk about quite possibly the upset of all upsets? We had the 3 seed of Robo Talons and Techno Talons, a lot of Talons to go around, against the 1 seed of Black Hawk Robotics and Robo Wranglers. These are 2 of the most storied franchises in FRC. 3310, 2-time Einstein's finalist, has 24 banners to their name. The Robo Wranglers are 3-time world champions and have 42 banners spanning 4 decades. All right, these are 2 of the best teams, and the 3 seed, love you, but none of the teams of the 3 seed have ever won an event. So what happens? Well, the 1 seed gets the intimidating win in finals match 1. Match 2, 3310's arm just falls off. It just falls off. So that takes them out the match. 148 tries the best they can to solo everything. They can't, they lose. Q tiebreaker, 3310 has their arm working again, but 148 this time has a jam in their feeder, so they cannot work coral at all. They worked plenty of algae, so it didn't leave 3310 high and dry, but 3310 still had to solo the reef, and that is a tall task even for a bot at this caliber. So the 1 seed falls in Plano to the 3 seed. All those teams get their first event win in team history, and it is just an absolute upset of all upsets. On to the big 3 for week 2. Offensive bot of the week. A lot of people want it to be OP Robotics, and I get why. 2056 does have a really nice bot. Very nice auto for the top 2. They are undefeated. They won every single one of their matches at the Niagara College event. However, I don't see them scoring much algae. They really seem to be a tube-heavy bot, and I get that this is a tube-heavy game, but you gotta diversify your bonds just a little bit. And I also don't see them going for endgame at all. They park sometimes, but other times they score tube until the clock runs out. And that is 12 points they're leaving off the board. I don't really see any mechanism for a deep climb. So maybe that's going to be a later edition. So I am going to give Offensive Bot of the Week to 4481 Team Rembrandts. It was pretty close between them and their alliance partner in the Ventura County playoffs, 4414 High Tide, because they both take care of the top tube and the top algae. But I just really love the Ferris wheel arm on Rembrandts. Very nice design, reminiscent of 118s out in Texas and the Arkansas Regional this past week. But Team Rembrandts, I am a sucker for a nice yeet into the barge. Looking a little like Dr. J, little Kareem, little skyhook, very reliable. Part of the highest scoring alliance of the week, surely. Probably of the year thus far. Again, only 2 weeks in. Defensive Bot of the Week goes to 10502 Harpia Robotics from the Marmara Regional. Still gotta get used to saying 5-digit team numbers. Harpia Robotics was a sub-bot that played amazingly effective defense at the Coral Station in the finals and slowed down quite possibly the fastest bot in that hemisphere. Defense wins championships, people, and shutting down the 9th ranked offense in the world can only have good things come to you. Now, I didn't catch this in the recap, but the Wildcats had connection troubles in the tiebreaker, which is why that score was even more lopsided than in Finals 2. They racked up some penalty points because they crashed and stalled out at the Red Reef, so every time Red Robot hits you, that's a penalty on you. But shout out to that rookie team. And for the top moment of week 2, I gotta give it to the 323 points scored in the Southern Cross Regional match 35. Sure, 296 points of that 323 total was penalty, but it got teams riding on their robot, and you only do that for the insane records, right? Record-setting stolen bases, right? 100 points with Wilt Chamberlain. That is what you do that for. That is proper sports moment. That's that for my week 2 bits. Make sure you keep your eyes peeled for anything you don't want me to miss for week 3. Let me know which events you are most excited about. I'll see you in the week 3 recap. So subscribe and like the video so you don't miss out on it. And remember, gracious in victory, professional in defeat. Amen.
Oh, we've got a bit of a jam up here. 91.44. How can... Oh. Wow, that's amazing driving.